Steak, a Southern Saturday night tradition. Stay with us while we perfect the technique of putting flame to a great piece of meat. Hi folks, I'm Fred Thompson. I'm going to take you on a culinary tour of what's cooking in the Carolinas and beyond. Welcome to Carolina Cooks. Fresh food, healthy eating, modern technique, from the Appalachian Mountains to the Low Country. Join me as we bring your family back to the table. Get your grill hot, because today we're doing a porterhouse steak with compound butter, grilled asparagus with a romesco sauce, a really funky romaine salad with a fabulous blue cheese dressing. Now let's start with the steak. First thing about a great steak dinner is buying the meat. So you need to make your butcher your very, very best friend. That's why I'm over here in Durham, North Carolina at Rose's Meat Market and Sweet Shop, and I'm gonna get Justin to cut us a wonderful, wonderful steak for our outing. What's artisanal butchery? Take a look at this here. He buys sustainable pork, beef, lamb, breaks it down, and uses the whole animal. So let's go watch him cut a steak. Look at that beautiful piece of meat. And all of your stuff is sustainably grown, what I call pasture perfect proteins.
Sounds about right.
Sounds good. I'm buying prime pieces of meat, but making a special trip to a butcher like you is not necessarily expensive, but it is about upping your game and having a better quality piece of meat.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to make sure people, when they walk in, understand that, you don't have to spend $20 a pound on steaks. Good meat is good meat, no matter what cut it is. Buying meat like this on a regular basis definitely benefits the community and the environment a lot more than just going and buying a steak when you're at the grocery store, because you're there.
Justin can really tell you what to do with just about any cut of protein that he sells.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Fred.
Thank you.
Yep.
So if you don't have a friendly neighborhood butcher shop like Rose's Meat Market and Sweets, there's a couple of tips that I want you to think about when you're in your local grocery store. I'm really big on bone-in pieces of meat. The bone helps transfer heat so that you evenly cook, and it also adds some additional flavor. But the other thing that I really I'm just kind of rabid about it, is making sure that you've got an 1.5 to 2 inch thick steak. This gives the steak time to sit on the grill, develop the caramelization that we're going to talk about later on, and add bunches and bunches of flavor to the end result. The other thing I want you to notice in this steak is the marbling. See these lovely little dashes and dots of what look like fat? That really transfers a lot of the flavor back and forth among the fibers of the beef, and also lends juiciness to the piece of meat. Now, one major thing that you need to think about is getting these steaks out of the refrigerator at least an hour to an hour and a half, or up to 2 hours before you're going to cook them. If you put a cold steak on a hot grill, it goes yeek, and it does not like that, and it sears it and it starts making it tough. So we want them to come to room temperature so there's a balance of temperatures between the beef and the grill. The other thing you want to do is pat your steaks dry, because the moisture that's come out of the steak while it's been sitting there retards the caramelization. Once we've patted them dry, I'm going to do something that sounds a little counterproductive. I'm going to put olive oil on there. Now, you go, Fred, wait a minute, you just told me to get the steak dry, and now you're putting olive oil on there. Isn't that a liquid? Yes, but it's also a liquid that transfers heat. And that's kind of what we want to happen when we first put this on the grill, is get a good heat transfer. We get really good caramelization happening. Oh, I really haven't told you what caramelization is it? Caramelization is the sort of the burning of the natural sugars that are in the beef. That, my friends, is flavor. That's that crust that you get on a great steakhouse steak. So we're going to generate that here tonight. So I'm very much a purist when it comes to seasoning steaks. Kosher salt. And I get a lot of questions as why is my hand way up here? I get better even distribution of the salt. It doesn't all go into one spot. So feel free to look like a chef and throw that salt down from above. If you do not have a pepper mill, please get one. Cracked fresh black pepper is just a beautiful thing. It's something that you really want to have. A lot of flavor from the freshness as those little peppercorns are popped. Fabulous. Now that we got our steak all seasoned up, you remember that little thing about your mom, your grandmom? They said, cleanliness is next to godliness. And you thought they were talking about cleaning your ears. No, they were talking about your grill. A clean grill is a happy place to be. Now, I do it kind of a simple way. I crank it up, let it get good and hot. so that it sort of helps burn off some of the carbon that was left there from the last go around. A good stiff brush takes care of it. And you can also do something like, there's a lot of high temperature grill sprays nowadays that you can just lightly do that. Do not do this, and don't call me if you do that. So let's get them on. Hear that sizzle? You gotta have that sizzle. We're gonna let them do their thing for a few minutes. We come back, we're gonna finish these steaks and give you a few more tips. Welcome back to Carolina Cooks. Now I'm going to break you of a pretty bad habit when you're cooking any kind of protein. Are you one of these that sits there and moves it around and dances all around with the sucker? Stop it. You're not doing anything to create flavor. We want it to have impact with the cooking grid to create that caramelization that we were talking about a while ago. Oh, one other thing, you want to impress the daylights out of your friends? Here's a $34,000 culinary school lesson. You know those fancy crosshatch marks that everybody likes to get on their steaks? It is so simple, you don't have to go to culinary school for that. See the angle of these steaks against the cooking grid? All you gotta do is take them, rotate them 45 degrees, and the grill is gonna do the rest of it for you. So let's get our asparagus going. See you in a few minutes. All right, so we flipped the steaks. See how we're getting this caramelization? See how we've got those crosshatch grill marks going on there? So we're just gonna let them kind of do their thing over here, and we're gonna work on the asparagus. Now, I guess everybody knows the trick. The part that you don't want to eat of the asparagus is you just bust it off right there. Wherever it bends, that's where it goes. Now, don't throw these things away. Put them in a Ziploc bag, throw them in the freezer, then shred them later on. They make great asparagus soup. So again, simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. We're gonna grab some olive oil and we're just gonna drizzle that over the asparagus. Again, kosher salt. You know, if you got a favorite herb that you want to put on these, that's fine. But I really do like for the asparagus to shine. I mean, you know, if they come around, they're seasonal one time a year. This is when they're the best. Make them stand out is what you want to do. So then it's just a matter of pitching them on the grill. And I've got enough asparagus here to feed 2 football teams. Close the lid, and while they're working, we're going to work on a romesco sauce. Now, romesco sauce is a Spanish sauce. It's a little bit acidic. It's based on red peppers. It's normally made with almonds or pine nuts, but we're going to do it with pecans today, kind of keep that southern theme. Now, all I've done with these peppers is blister them. I put these on the grill before I started cooking the steaks, and once they're blistered, that skin comes right off, and that's really all you have to do is just peel them like that, and they're ready to go. So, and it's also nice if you have a sink close by to wash your hands. So we've got a couple of peppers in here. We need some sourdough bread. We're just going to rip it up, throw it in. A pinch of red pepper flakes. You could put more in there if you wanted to. We're going to do about 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Put that in there. And 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. Now I like to start this first with a little pulse action. I've got some pecans over here, or pecans, depending on what you want me to call them, that I've just roasted a little bit. Roasting pecans is really nothing more, or any nut for that matter, is putting them in a pan over medium heat. And as soon as you smell them, the essential oils have come out and you're sort of ready to go. So once we've got that, put the lid on, take out that little puppy, and we're going to pulse them again a little bit. And then we're going to put a little bit, some olive oil in there to kind of get it going. We're just going to add the olive oil. Until we have a nice sauce consistency, which should be about right now. See? Lovely. Just thick enough to coat. And probably what I want to do is a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Let's give it one more little pop. And then let's just double check it. Holy moly. That's good. You want some? It's really good. All right. We'll let that sit over on the side. Now let's go back to our asparagus. Let's roll them around a little bit. Let's check our steak. I think we're getting close to being done on that. Are y'all always trying to figure out how done your steak is? You're poking it and prodding it with meat thermometers and all that? Show you an easy way. Rare, medium, and in my vocabulary, if it's this done, throw it away, because that's way too done. Rare, medium to medium rare, touch the meat. It's the best indicator and the quickest indicator of how done these steaks are. And right now, they're about medium rare, so we're going to take them off and let them rest. Now, one of the key things that you also need to do with a steak is to let it rest, or any protein for that matter. So we're just going to pull them off. We're going to loosely tin them with aluminum foil while we finish up everything else for the meal. What happens here is the juices have gone crazy. They've gone to the outside. And by letting them rest, the juices start coming back to the middle. If I cut that steak now, the juices for the steak would just go all over everywhere. And I think our asparagus are looking pretty good. We've got some light char here. I'm just going to stick them on this platter for a minute. Now, if you'll notice, these asparagus are not those pencil thin asparagus that a lot of people like to buy. They're great for all kinds of applications, but when you're grilling them, the pencil thin ones tend to go right through the grill, but these take a little longer to cook, and just like a 1.5 inch thick steak, you get more flavor, more caramelization. So I'm gonna put these over here, tin them with aluminum foil, and when we come back to Carolina Cooks, we're going to finish the rest of this meal. We're going to show you a really cool salad and a super compound butter for your steak. Come back to us. Welcome back to Carolina Cooks. Okay, we decided the steaks are probably about medium to medium rare. The asparagus are up, they're waiting for the romesco sauce. Now I want to show you how to make a compound butter, which is one of the easiest and most flavorful things to do with a steak. And what's left over you can use for fish, chicken, pork chops, whatever. I'm going to make a tarragon and shallot compound butter today. Those are two flavors that historically have always gone well with beef. Now, I really like fresh herbs. This is much better if you don't use dry herbs. But you know, a lot of people go, well, I got to pick the herbs like this and all that. No, don't bother doing that. Grab hold of it by the top and just kind of strip it down, just like that. Then maybe pick the few at the top. It's really, really simple. Grab hold of it, just pull it down, and you've got leaves coming right off. And that's probably about enough for what we want to do. So over there in this bowl, I've got 2 sticks of unsalted butter that's way past room temperature. It's really, really soft. Let's just finely chop this tarragon. I wish you could smell this. It has that, I hate to say licorice smell, but it is a little bit of a licorice smell, but it's not a licorice taste. It's just, I don't know, it's one of those herbs that when you taste it on food, you go, what is that? What is that that's making it taste so good? Because it really does enhance food. It's great on eggs. It mixes well with dill. I'm also going to take a little bit of Italian flat leaf parsley. And notice how I'm doing this. I'm just kind of making a ball with it and then just cutting right across it. Make a little ball again. So we've got our parsley into the bowl. Now I'm going to switch knives because I like to use a smaller knife when I'm finally mincing shallots. Shallot has kind of the taste between an onion and some garlic. It's probably an underused little thing. I like it because it gives it a brighter flavor, but it's not something that's really, really strong. So what I've done is I'm going across here kind of with the lines that God gave this thing, and then I'm just going to run my knife back this way, and then go across, and that way I can finally mince the shallot, because I don't want to get a really big piece of shallot in this butter. Pretty simple, huh? I'll tell you what, when you do things yourself from scratch, instead of using prepared products all the time, the flavors just jump. They come out in a big way, and you just can't duplicate this kind of flavor any other way. Put a little salt, put a little pepper, and then we're just going to mix it up. Now do you see why it's necessary to keep this stuff as soft as possible, the butter? Because you really are almost, well, you're whipping the butter. So now that we've got it mixed up, I'm going to take a blob of this and put it on our steaks. So right while the steaks are still warm, just flip as much as you want down on it and let that be melting and oozing into the steak. But you go, well, Fred, there's a lot of butter here. Yeah, there is a lot of butter here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a piece of wax paper and we're going to roll the rest of this butter out on this wax paper. And we're going to kind of make a little bit of a log. Then we're going to take the wax paper and we're going to roll it. And then I usually take a wooden spatula and start tucking it in, get the roll tight. Keep rolling it. And we'll twist the ends, find me a Ziploc bag, and then we'll throw this in the freezer. This will stay in the freezer for a good 3, 4, 5 months. So anytime you want some, you've already got it done. It'll be fine. I guarantee you the heat from the food will take care of it. Now, when we come back, we're going to do one really odd salad. Stick with us. Join us in a few minutes. Welcome back. Okay, we're gonna make a really good salad, but it may be a little strange to you. We're gonna grill romaine lettuce, and we're going to make a homemade sort of ranch buttermilk dressing to put on it. And I think it's just gonna be the perfect thing to go with our asparagus romesco sauce and our steak. So it's really simple. You just split some heads of romaine, drizzle them with a little olive oil. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. A little salt, a little freshly ground black pepper. Remember what I said earlier? Buy you a pepper mill, please. The grill's kind of at a medium heat, so we're gonna take them and we're gonna put them cut side down. And we're just gonna let them sort of wilt for a few minutes. In the meantime, we got about 4 to 5 ounces of blue cheese. Now this recipe I got from Chef Kyle Wilkerson, who's a good friend of mine who's just opened a restaurant in Roxborough, North Carolina called Heirloom, a Papa Bob's Grill. This is his recipe. It's kind of a tribute to his great-grandfather who really taught him how to enjoy good Southern food. So along with that, Duke's mayonnaise, the mayonnaise of the South. And we're gonna put in about, I don't know, what does that look like to you guys? Half cup? Half cup. Let's kind of get that stirring around, break up that cheese. And then we're gonna add a little bit of Worcestershire, just a couple of dashes. And because Kyle likes everything with a little heat, a couple of things of Texas Pete. Work that together. And then we're gonna add a little herbage to it. All right, so we've got some parsley over here. We're gonna take, again, remember how we took the parsley, kind of went all together like that, got in a little bowl. And I like to do this fairly fine. So let's throw the parsley in. And to me, the main ingredient in this whole thing, or one of the main ingredients, is fresh chives. And if you're growing chives out at your house, and it's the spring when the chive blossoms are coming out, throw some chive blossoms in here too. So just really fine on the chives. I just love the way these things smell. They're just so vibrant, so herbaceous. So kind of get in your nose immediately, like make me hungry kind of herb. Take those, put those in the bowl. All right, so we're gonna stir this. And before I put in the secret ingredient, let's take a look at these. See how we're doing over here. Yeah, we're beginning to get a little bit of char, a little bit of wilt. We don't want them to go crazy. We just want to get them kind of warm. A little bit of char. That one's really looking pretty doggone good. Every community has a local dairy that's still doing things sort of small and kind of the old-fashioned way. Around here, it's Mapleview Farms, and they make a great buttermilk. And buttermilk is the secret ingredient here. Start with about a half a cup. Now this is full-fat buttermilk. You can find plenty of full-fat buttermilks around in all grocery stores. Something like Mapleview, you might have to go to a specialty market to find, but they're out there. Look for them. If you're in Tennessee, Cruz Dairy, one of the best buttermilks I've ever put in my mouth, and I don't like buttermilk. Oh, what the heck. Oh, Y'all come back next week. I'm busy. That's really good. And I think it's the consistency they want. And real quick, while the romaine is finishing, I think I'm gonna slice up some of these heirloom cherry tomatoes, which heirloom cherry tomatoes will always come off before the regular heirloom tomatoes. And I love having the different colors because each one of them has a little different flavor, a little different texture. Get a little bit ahead of the game by cutting some of these up. All right, now, I think these things are done over here. So we're gonna take this guy. Yeah. So everybody see how they've slightly wilted. We haven't burnt anything. So we're gonna take them, we're gonna put them cut side up on this platter. Yeah, we don't wanna leave those. There we go. And let's bring them back over here. We're going to take our dressing. Well, probably don't want to hear me use the word slop, but just kind of slop it around and pass any extra on the side. I also like to go over it one more time with a freshly cracked black pepper. Then we're going to take our tomatoes, toss them around, and then some bacon that I cooked earlier, crisp, and chunk them up. Folks, how gorgeous a salad platter is that? Nice spread, don't you think? Steak with that melting compound butter, asparagus with a Spanish romesco sauce, a grilled romaine salad with a luscious blue cheese dressing. For these recipes and more, go to RaleighCW.com. Grass-fed sustainable beef and old-style butchery were hallmarks of the South, but they faded over time. Now, thanks to Justin and a new generation of ranchers, these arts are being revitalized, and we're all better for it. Join us next time on Carolina Cooks.